The doctor's hand shook when he slid the note toward me. Not a big shake. Just enough. Enough for a woman like me to notice. My name is Nana May. I am 74 years old. I have buried a husband, raised a son, and survived things most women don't speak about out loud. But nothing prepared me for that small white paper. The clinic was quiet in that unnatural way hospitals always are. No crying, no laughter, just the hum of fluorescent lights and the ticking clock on the wall. Tick, tick, tick. I sat straight-backed in the plastic chair, my purse folded neatly on my lap like I'd been taught as a girl. My knees ached. My feet were swollen. But I didn't complain. I never do. Dr. Khalid flipped through my file, nodding to himself. Your sugar levels have improved, he said. Blood pressure is stable. That's good, I replied. He didn't look up. Doctors usually smile when they say good things. He didn't smile. He cleared his throat, tapped his pen against the desk. Then he looked at me. Not at my file. At me. Nana May, he said gently. How are things at home? I frowned. Home? Yes, he said. Your living situation. I shifted in my seat. I live with my son, I said, since my husband passed. And his wife, he asked. Yes. And their daughter? Yes. He nodded slowly. Too slowly. Do you feel comfortable there? He asked. I hesitated. I didn't know why, but my chest felt tight. Comfortable. I repeated. Safe, he corrected softly. The word hit me like cold water. Safe. I thought of my bedroom door. The new lock my daughter-in-law insisted on installing for my privacy. I thought of how my son had stopped letting me answer the phone. How letters addressed to me disappeared. I'm an old woman, I said lightly. What danger could there be? Dr. Khalid's jaw clenched. He stood up, walked to the door, peeked outside. Then he closed it, locked it. My heart skipped. He returned to his chair and lowered his voice. Nana May, he said, I need you to listen carefully. I nodded. Have you noticed anyone controlling your medications? He asked. Yes, I said. My daughter-in-law keeps them. Your finances? He continued. My son handles them, I said. Your identification documents? I swallowed. I haven't seen them in months. Silence filled the room. Heavy, thick. He reached for his prescription pad. Relief washed over me for half a second. Then I realized he wasn't writing medicine. He wrote quickly, tore the page, folded it. His hand trembled again as he slid it across the desk. Read this outside, he whispered. Not here. I stared at him. What is this? I asked. Please, he said. Do not read it in this room. Doctor, I said slowly, you're frightening me. He met my eyes, and in them I saw fear. Real fear. If anyone asks, he said, tell them you forgot your reports and need to come back. Why? I whispered. His voice cracked. Because if they know you've read that note, he said, you may not make it home. The cold air outside hit my face like a slap. My hands shook as I unfolded the paper. 4 words, written in hurried, uneven ink. Don't go home. Run. I stared. Read it again. Then again. A laugh escaped my throat. Small. Broken. Run. At 74, with arthritis in my knees and a heart that already struggled, I folded the paper and stuffed it into my coat pocket. Don't be dramatic, Nana, I muttered to myself. That's when my phone rang. Son. My heart began to race. I answered. Amy, he said, breathless. Where are you? At the clinic, I replied. Good, he said quickly. Too quickly. Very good. Something was wrong. Why? I asked. We have guests, he said. What guests? I pressed. Business friends. I knew that tone. The lying tone. I'll be home soon, I said. No, he snapped. Don't. The line went dead. I stood frozen on the sidewalk. My husband's voice echoed in my head. If your own child ever tells you not to come home, listen. I hadn't listened enough in my life. I dialed my granddaughter. Isla. I whispered. Nano, she answered. Are you okay? Where are you? I asked. At tuition. Stay there, I said urgently. Do not come home. She went quiet. Nano, she said, what's happening? I'll explain later, I said. Promise me you won't tell anyone. I promise, she whispered. I hung up. That's when I saw the car. Black. Shiny. Windows dark. It pulled up slowly across the street. My stomach dropped. The door opened. My son stepped out. Behind him, two men I didn't recognize. Tall. Broad. Faces blank. They scanned the area. Then their eyes locked on me. My son pulled out his phone. My phone rang again. I didn't answer. He raised his head and saw me. Our eyes met. For a second, I didn't recognize the man who looked back at me. No warmth. No guilt. Only urgency. He shouted, "Am I?" People turned. My legs screamed as I stood. I turned away. Walked. Then faster. Then as fast as my old body would allow. I heard footsteps behind me. "Amy, stop." I didn't. Because in that moment, a horrifying truth settled into my bones. The doctor hadn't warned me about illness. He had warned me about my own blood. I disappeared into the crowd, heart pounding, tears blurring my vision. And one thought kept screaming inside my head. What had they already done inside my house while I was gone? The first memory that came to me as I ran was a wedding song. Isn't that strange? Not sirens, not footsteps, not fear. A wedding song. The same one that had played the day my son got married. The day everything truly began. I ducked into a small tea shop 2 streets away from the clinic. My chest burned. My legs trembled so badly I had to grip the counter to stay upright. "Baji, are you all right?" the shopkeeper asked. Yes, I lied. Just tired. I sat in the corner, my back to the wall, eyes fixed on the door. Every time it opened, my heart jumped. My phone buzzed again. Son. Then again. Daughter-in-law. I turned the phone face down. My hands were still shaking. And without warning, my mind pulled me backward. To that day. The day I should have seen it coming. The wedding hall had been filled with light. White flowers. Golden chairs. Laughter everywhere. People kept telling me how lucky I was. Such a good son. Such a beautiful bride. Allah has blessed you, Nana. I remember sitting in the front row, my hands folded, my heart full. My son looked handsome that day, nervous, proud, and my daughter-in-law. She looked at me once, just once. Her eyes were cold. I told myself I imagined it. I always told myself that. "Nana, are you okay?" my sister whispered beside me. "I'm fine," I said. Just emotional. The bride approached for the blessing ritual. She bent down. I raised my trembling hand and placed it on her head. "May you bring peace into this family," I whispered. Her lips curved into a smile. But she whispered back, "Families change." The words were soft, sharp. They slid into my ear like a blade. I pulled my hand back. "Did you say something?" I asked. She straightened, smile still perfect. "No, Nana," she said sweetly. "Just thanking you." Everyone laughed. Music swelled, and I swallowed the unease. Back in the tea shop, my tea arrived untouched. My throat was too tight to drink. Another memory followed. The speeches. My son stood at the microphone. "I wouldn't be here without my mother," he said. People clapped. I wiped my tears. Then he added, "And now my wife will take care of everything." Everyone laughed again. But I felt something twist inside my chest. Everything. That night, after the wedding, I overheard them talking. I hadn't meant to listen. I was passing the hallway. Their bedroom door was slightly open. "I don't want her interfering," my daughter-in-law said. "She's my mother," my son replied. "Not anymore," she said. "Not in decisions." I stood frozen. My heart pounded. "She's old," my daughter-in-law continued. People listened to me now. Silence. Then my son sighed. "Let's talk about it later." I went to my room and locked the door. That was the first time I ever locked it. The tea shop door creaked open. I jolted. A man stepped in. Not my son. Not one of the men. Just a stranger. Still, my heart didn't slow. I realized something terrifying. Fear had rewired me. Every sound felt like danger. My phone buzzed again. This time a message. From my daughter-in-law. "Amy, please come home. There's been a misunderstanding." Misunderstanding? I almost laughed. Another wedding memory surfaced. The gifts. Jewelry laid out on the bed. Gold bangles. Necklaces. She picked them up one by one. "Where should we keep Nana's things?" she asked my son. "My things." I said, confused. She smiled. For safety, she said. You know, old people forget. I looked at my son. He avoided my eyes. Just for now, Amy, he said. That was the day my cupboard became empty. And I told myself, they're just being responsible. In the tea shop, tears finally spilled down my cheeks. I wiped them angrily. No, I whispered to myself. You were not foolish. You were trusting. My phone rang again. This time, Isla. Nano, she whispered urgently. Mama is calling me. She says you're lost. Lost. Like a misplaced object. Isla, I said softly, listen to me. Yes. Did anyone come into my room today? She hesitated. Yes, she admitted. Mama and some men. They were carrying files. What files? I asked. I don't know, she said. They told me not to touch anything. My heart dropped. Did they take my suitcase? I asked. Yes, she said. The blue one. My knees nearly gave out. That suitcase held my documents. My ID. My husband's death papers. My house papers. The house. My house. Another wedding flash. The NICA papers. The lawyer. My daughter-in-law insisting I sign as a witness. You trust me, Nana, don't you? She'd asked. Yes, I said. I signed. Without reading. The tea shop spun around me. The doctor's note burned in my pocket. Don't go home. Run. I finally understood. This wasn't sudden. This was planned. Years in the making. My son's voice echoed in my head. Now my wife will take care of everything. Everything. Including erasing me. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. I didn't know if they were coming for me, or because of me. I stood slowly, paid for the untouched tea, pulled my shawl tighter around my shoulders, and made a decision. I wasn't going home. Not yet. I was going to the only place that still held the truth. The wedding hall office, because if my signature had been used, then that wedding day wasn't just a celebration. It was a trap. The wedding hall looked smaller in daylight, like a lie exposed by the sun. I stood across the street, my heart pounding as I stared at the faded gold signboard. This place had once felt sacred, loud with joy, thick with blessings. Now it felt like a crime scene. I pulled my shawl tighter around my shoulders and crossed the road slowly. Every step felt heavy, as if the ground itself was resisting me. Inside, the air smelled of dust and old flowers. A young man sat behind the reception desk, scrolling on his phone. Assalamu alaikum, I said. He looked up, bored. Walaikum salam. I need to see records from a wedding held here, I said. 5 years ago. He raised an eyebrow. That's a long time. My son's wedding, I added. Something flickered across his face. Names, he asked. I told him. He typed, paused, typed again. Then he stood. Please wait, he said, suddenly polite. I'll call the manager. My stomach tightened. As I waited, another memory crept in. After the wedding, the changes came quietly, like a slow poison. At first, it was small things. My son stopped asking my opinion. My daughter-in-law started rearranging the house. This sofa blocks light, she'd say. This cupboard is unsafe. That room is better for storage. My room grew smaller. Their authority grew larger. The manager arrived, a middle-aged man with tired eyes. You are Nana May, he asked. Yes. Please come, he said, gesturing toward a back office. The door closed behind us. He pulled out a thick file. Your son's wedding, he said. Very grand. Yes, I replied. I need copies of the documents signed that day. He hesitated. Is there a problem? I asked. He adjusted his glasses. Some documents were unusual, he said carefully. My chest tightened. What kind of documents? Property related, he said. The word hit me like a slap. Property. I repeated. He slid a paper across the desk. My signature stared back at me. Clear. Bold. Confident. I didn't remember signing this. This is a power of attorney, he said. I felt dizzy. For what? I whispered. For the transfer of residential property, he replied. The room began to spin. My health? I asked. He nodded slowly. It was signed by you. Witnessed. Registered. No, I said. I would remember. You signed it on the wedding day, he said. After the NICA. In this very office. My ears rang. I remembered now. My daughter-in-law's voice. Just some formalities, Nana. My son's silence. My trust. Who does the property belong to now? I asked, my voice barely audible. The manager looked at me with something like pity. Your son and his wife, he said. Equal ownership. My knees nearly buckled. So, I don't own my house anymore. I asked. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. I stumbled out of the office. The world felt unreal. People passed me, laughing, talking, living, while my life collapsed silently inside my chest. I sat on the steps outside the hall and pressed my palm against my heart. My husband's face flashed before me. This house is yours, May, he had said. No matter what. I had failed him. My phone buzzed. A message from my son. Amy, please answer. You're worrying us. Worrying us. I typed back with shaking fingers. Who are the men in my house? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then, they're helping with paperwork. Paperwork. The word made me sick. I replied, you took my documents. A long pause. Then, we were keeping them safe. Safe. The same word the doctor had used. My chest burned. I called my sister. She answered on the first ring. May, she said. What's wrong? They took my house, I whispered. What? She gasped. They planned it, I said. From the wedding. Oh my God, she breathed. Where are you? I don't know, I said. Nowhere. Come to me, she said quickly. Right now. I can't, I replied. Why? Because, I said, voice breaking. If I disappear, no one will know what they've done. Silence. Then, you think they'd hurt you? She asked. I closed my eyes. I think, I said, they already have. Another memory surfaced. A family dinner. My daughter-in-law serving food. She placed my plate last. As she set it down, she whispered, old people should eat less anyway. I looked up. She smiled sweetly. No salt for you, Nana, she said loudly. Doctor's orders. My son didn't look up from his plate. That was the night I cried silently into my pillow and told myself, be patient. I stood up slowly, wiped my tears. I wasn't done. Not yet. There was one more place I needed to go. The lawyer's office. The same lawyer who had handled the wedding papers. If there were secrets, they lived there. The office was small, dim. The lawyer recognized me immediately. Nana May, he said, startled. You look unwell. You handled my son's wedding documents, I said. Yes, he nodded. Everything was proper. Did you explain them to me? I asked. He hesitated. You said you trusted your son, he replied. I laughed. A hollow sound. Did I understand them? I pressed. He looked away. You were emotional that day, he said. It was assumed. Assumed, I interrupted. By whom? He sighed. Your daughter-in-law was very clear, he said. She said you wanted everything transferred to avoid future disputes. My vision blurred. She spoke for me? I whispered. He nodded. Your son confirmed. My heart shattered. I walked out of the office numb. It was all connected. The wedding, the house, the documents, the locks, the doctor's fear. This wasn't neglect. It was extraction. They weren't caring for me. They were waiting for me to disappear. My phone rang. My son again. I answered. Amy, he said urgently, where are you? You tell me, I said coldly. Whose house do you live in? Silence. Amy, answer me. It's ours now, he said quietly. The words crushed me. You stole from me, I said. No, he snapped. You gave it to us. I trusted you, I whispered. And I trusted my wife, he replied. There it was. The truth. Raw. Ugly. Final. Before I could speak again, the call ended. A car slowed near the curb. Black. Tinted windows. My breath caught. The same car. The door opened. One of the men stepped out and looked straight at me. The man smiled at me like he already owned my silence. Not a friendly smile. Not polite. A practiced one. The kind men wear when they know you are cornered. He took one step toward me. Then another. My heart slammed against my ribs, so hard I thought it might break free. I turned and walked. I did not run. Running would have made me pray. The street felt suddenly too long. Too open. Cars passed. People laughed. Life continued. But I was no longer part of it. Behind me, footsteps followed. Slow. Unhurried. As if he knew I couldn't escape anyway. Nana May, he called softly. My blood turned to ice. I stopped, turned around. How do you know my name? I asked. He smiled wider. Your son speaks of you, he said. Often. My stomach twisted. What do you want? I demanded. To talk, he replied. Somewhere quieter. I have nothing to say to you, I snapped. He tilted his head. You do, he said calmly. You just don't know it yet. I stepped back. Stay away from me, I said loudly. A few people glanced over. He noticed, lowered his voice. You don't want a scene, he said. At your age. Anger flared in my chest. At my age, I said, I fear nothing. That wasn't entirely true, but it felt good to say. He chuckled. You remind me of your husband, he said casually. My breath caught. You knew my husband? I asked. No, he said. But your son speaks of him too. My hands clenched. Who are you? I asked again. He leaned closer. A problem solver, he whispered. Then he stepped back. I'll tell your son you're safe, he said. For now. For now. I repeated. He nodded. You should rest, he said. Stress isn't good for the heart. Then he turned, walked back to the black car, and disappeared. I stood there shaking. My knees buckled. I sat on the curb, breath coming in short gasps. This wasn't imagination. This wasn't paranoia. They had sent someone to watch me, to remind me. I was still within reach. I didn't call my son. I didn't call my daughter-in-law. I called the one person who had always spoken the truth to me. My brother-in-law. May, he said, surprised. What's wrong? They took my house, I said simply. Silence. Then. I knew it, he said quietly. The words hit harder than anything else. You knew. I whispered. Yes, he admitted. Your husband suspected something before he died. My heart stopped. What do you mean? I asked. He changed his will, he said. 2 months before he passed. I gripped the phone. Changed it how? I asked. He put the house in your name only, he replied. Your son was angry. My throat burned. He never told me, I whispered. He didn't want to worry you, my brother-in-law said. He trusted your son until the end. Tears streamed down my face. And now? I asked. Now, he said. Your son has undone it. Another memory rushed in. My husband on his deathbed. Weak. Pale. Holding my hand. Promise me, he whispered. You won't sign anything without reading. I promise, I said. I had broken it. May, my brother-in-law said firmly. Where are you right now? I don't know, I said. Anywhere but home. Good, he said. Don't go back. The doctor said the same, I murmured. What doctor? I told him everything. The note. The men. The documents. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, They're rushing. What? I asked. They wouldn't move this fast unless something forced them, he said. Like what? Like fear, he replied. Fear. The word echoed in my mind. Fear of what? Fear of me? An old woman? No, I whispered. They're not afraid of me. They're afraid of what you still have, he said. What do I have? I asked bitterly. Nothing. You have proof, he said. And they know it. My chest tightened. What proof? He hesitated. Your husband left copies, he said. With someone he trusted. Who? I asked urgently. He exhaled. The same doctor you visited today. My breath caught. Dr. Khalid. That's why he warned you, my brother-in-law continued. He knew they'd find out you went there. The world tilted. So they're not just stealing, I whispered. They're covering, he said. A notification buzzed on my phone. A voicemail. From my daughter-in-law. I pressed play. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Amy, she said sweetly. Please stop creating drama. You're embarrassing us. Embarrassing. She continued. If you don't come home tonight, we'll have no choice but to take measures. Measures. The word chilled me. Another memory surfaced. A family gathering. My daughter-in-law laughing with relatives. I treat Nana like my own mother, she said loudly. People nodded approvingly. I smiled and felt invisible. I stood up slowly, wiped my face. My reflection stared back at me from a shop window. Older, tired, but something new burned in my eyes. Resolve. You trusted the wrong people, I said softly to myself. But they trusted the wrong woman. I found a small guest house. Cheap. Anonymous. The kind of place no one asks questions. I paid cash, locked the door behind me, sat on the bed, and finally allowed myself to cry. Not quiet tears, loud ones, shaking ones, for my husband, for my trust, for my stolen years. Then I stopped, because crying wouldn't save me. I dialed my son. He answered immediately. "Amy," he said, relief flooding his voice. "Where are you?" "Safe," I said. "Come home," he urged. "Let's talk." "I know about the power of attorney," I said. Silence. "I know about the lawyer," I continued. "And the men." His voice hardened. "You went digging," he said. "You buried me first," I replied. "You don't understand," he snapped. "This was necessary." "For whom?" I asked. "For our future," he said. "What about mine?" I whispered. Another pause. Then, "You're old," he said. "You don't need much." The words sliced through me. "I needed my dignity," I said. He didn't answer. I hung up. My hand shook. But my decision was made. I wasn't running anymore. I was recording, documenting, saving every message, every threat, every lie. If they wanted me erased, they would have to erase the truth with me. A knock sounded at the door. Sharp, sudden. My heart jumped into my throat. Another knock. Slower, heavier. I froze. "Nana May." A voice called softly from outside. The same man. The problem solver. My blood ran cold. "We just want to talk," he said. I backed away from the door. My phone clutched in my hand. Recording. My finger hovered over the screen. He knocked again. Harder. "I promise," he said quietly. "This will be easier if you cooperate." I pressed my back against the wall. Phone in hand. Recording. My heart thundered like a drum. Every muscle screamed. I was old. Weak. But not defenseless. Not yet. The man's voice came again, calm. "Nana May just opened the door. We can talk." I took a deep breath. "No," I whispered. "You'll leave, or I'll call the police." A pause. Then his laughter. Low. Menacing. "You think that helps," he said. "They don't care about police. They care about time and your silence." I remembered the note in my pocket. "Don't go home. Run." Now I understood why. Outside, the street was quiet. Too quiet. I could hear my own ragged breathing. My hand shook as I gripped the phone tighter. The man knocked again, harder. I snapped. "You've done enough," I yelled. The door shook. I stepped back. And then a voice I never expected. "Amy." It was my son. I froze. He was standing there behind the man. Calm. Smiling. Almost casual. "What are you doing here?" I asked. My voice broke. "Talking," he said softly. "We need to clear things up. You need to leave my house." I screamed. "You don't own it anymore," he said. The words hit me like a hammer. I staggered. My knees buckled. "Not my house," I whispered. "Not my home. My life. You stole it." He didn't answer. Just stepped closer. The man behind him moved like a shadow, silent, looming. "Amy," my son said, softer now. "We only did this for you. For your safety." I laughed bitterly. Safety. I spat. By erasing me? By taking everything I built? His expression didn't change. "You don't understand," he said. "You're vulnerable. People take advantage of you. We were protecting you." I shook my head. "You weren't protecting me. You betrayed me." "You're old," he said, almost tenderly. "You can't manage anymore." The betrayal hit me deeper than I could bear. "You're supposed to love me." I cried. "You're supposed to protect me." Not this. The man behind him shifted. Quiet. Watching. Calculating. I realized then my son had planned this. My daughter-in-law. Even these men. Everyone had acted in concert. I had been surrounded my entire life and never known. "I trusted you," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "You still can," he said. I laughed. Hollow. "Trust?" I trusted my own son. My blood. "And you used me." My husband warned me he knew. But I didn't listen. And now. Tears streamed down my face. "Now what?" he asked. I swallowed. "Now," I said slowly, deliberately. "You'll see I'm not helpless." Not yet. I moved toward the phone on the table. "Hit record." "You're on record," I said. "Every word. Every threat. Every lie. You'll need more than silence to hide from this. My son's eyes flickered. The first sign of fear. You wouldn't dare, he said. I already have, I said. The man behind him stepped closer. Stay back, I yelled. My son's face hardened. You'll regret this, Amy, he said. You're making a mistake. I've made mistakes already, I said. Trusting you, believing in you, thinking my family loved me. But now, I'm awake. He hesitated. And then, something I didn't expect. He smiled, not tenderly, not cruelly, but like a man who knows the next move in a game. You want to know why we did it, he said. I shook my head. No, I don't. I just want my life back. You can't have it, he said. It's gone, just like the past, just like your husband, just like the way things were supposed to be. I froze. My heart skipped. My breath caught. And then I saw it. On the man's wrist. A bracelet. Engraved. My husband's handwriting. I took a step forward. Where did you get that? The man glanced at my son. Protecting you as he would have, my son said. I didn't understand. Wait, I whispered. He left something? Yes, the man said. He left instructions. He knew they'd try to take everything. He knew someone had to stop it. I blinked. I could feel my knees weakening. My son's face twisted. He started. No, I said sharply. You explained nothing. You did enough. And then the phone buzzed. It was a message from Isla. Amy, something is moving at the house. You need to see this. My heart jumped. I pressed the phone to my ear. Amy, she whispered. They're taking things out. Boxes. Furniture. And I held my breath. And they found the chest. The chest. The chest my husband had hidden. The one containing everything. His documents. Letters. Evidence. They opened it, she said. Amy, I don't know what to do. I looked at my son. I saw the flicker of panic in his eyes. I realized he didn't know I knew. And I also realized I wasn't afraid anymore. Not of him. Not of the men. Not of the lies. Because I had a secret too. I reached for my coat pocket. The doctor's note. Don't go home. Run. But also something else. Something hidden inside. Something that would change everything. I took a deep breath and whispered, You think you own me, but you forgot one thing. My son's face drained. The man behind him tensed. I smiled. The game was about to begin. The truth doesn't arrive gently. It crashes, like a door kicked open, like breath ripped from your lungs. I held the note tighter in my fist as my son stared at me, his confidence finally cracking. What are you talking about? He demanded. The man behind him shifted again. Alert now. Dangerous. You think you planned everything, I said slowly. But you missed something. My son laughed, sharp and forced. You're confused, Amy. You're tired. Let's stop this before it gets ugly. Ugly, I whispered. You sold my life on my wedding table. This is already ugly. Silence stretched between us. Then I reached into my coat pocket. Not for the doctor's note. For the second paper. Folded smaller. Hidden deeper. My husband's handwriting. My son's eyes widened. I found this after your father died, I said. Or rather, he made sure I would. The man's jaw tightened. What is that? My son asked, though his voice had lost its edge. A confession, I replied. And a warning. I unfolded the paper with shaking fingers. My husband's words stared back at me. Familiar. Steady. May, if you're reading this, it means I was right. And it means our son chose the wrong path. My throat closed. I read aloud anyway. He knew, I said, my voice breaking. He knew someone would try to take everything. He didn't know who, but he prepared. My son stepped forward. That letter means nothing. Oh, but it does, I said, because it names names. The man stiffened, and it explains why Dr. Khalid was so afraid. I looked up. This letter was notarized, I said. Filed. Duplicated. My son's face went pale. Where? He demanded. I smiled sadly. In places you can't reach. Another memory surged forward. The night before my husband died, he had asked everyone to leave the room. Everyone except me. He squeezed my hand weakly. May, he whispered, our son is being watched. By whom? I asked. By people who smell money, he said. And power. You're tired, I said. No, he said firmly. I'm finally seeing clearly. He made me promise. To trust no one blindly, not even our child. I had failed then, but not now. Your father left evidence, I said to my son, about forged signatures, about pressure, about men like him. I nodded toward the problem solver. The man's calm finally cracked. This isn't necessary, he said. We can still settle this quietly. Quiet is what you want, I said. Noise is what you fear. My son shook his head. You don't know what you're doing, he snapped. You'll destroy this family. You destroyed it, I replied. I'm just turning on the lights. My phone buzzed again. Isla, I answered. Nano, she whispered urgently. They took the chest. My heart dropped. They took everything, she continued. Papers, USB drives, letters. The man smiled. Too soon. Too proud. I laughed. A real laugh this time. They took the decoys, I said. My son stared at me. What? He asked. You think your father hid everything in one place? I asked softly. He was smarter than that. The man cursed under his breath. I turned away from the door, sat down slowly on the bed. My legs finally gave up, but my voice didn't. There are copies, I said, with my brother-in-law, with Dr. Khalid, with a legal trust office. You're lying, my son said. I wish I were, I replied. Then this wouldn't hurt so much. Another hidden truth spilled out. The power of attorney, I continued. It has a clause you didn't read. My son frowned. A conditional clause, I said. It becomes void if coercion is proven. The man's eyes widened. And coercion, I said calmly, includes isolation, document seizure, intimidation, and third-party enforcers. I looked directly at him. You. The silence was deafening. You can't prove that, my son said weakly. I already have, I replied. Messages, recordings, witnesses. I lifted my phone. Every word you said tonight, I added. Saved. The man took a step back. Let's go, he muttered to my son. My son didn't move. He looked at me. Really looked. Like he was seeing me for the first time. Not as a burden. Not as an obstacle. But as a threat. Why? He asked suddenly. Why are you doing this? You could have stayed quiet. Lived comfortably. Comfortably, I repeated. I stood up slowly. You locked my door. Took my name. Sold my home. And you call that comfort? Tears filled my eyes. I raised you, I said. I starved so you could eat. I prayed so you could sleep. His jaw trembled. And you chose money, I whispered. Over me. For a moment, I thought he might break. Then his face hardened. You don't understand the pressure, he said. The debts. The expectations. My wife. Chose you, I interrupted. And you chose her. Silence. Then the man spoke again. This is bigger than family, he said. You're standing in the way of serious people. I looked at him. No, I said. You're standing in front of an old woman with nothing left to lose. Another knock echoed outside. Different rhythm. Firm. Official. The man froze. My son's eyes widened. The knock came again. Police, a voice called. The problem solver swore. I exhaled. I hadn't called them. But someone had. The door opened. 2 officers stepped in, followed by Dr. Khalid. He looked relieved when he saw me. Are you safe? He asked. I nodded. Barely. My son stared at him in shock. You, he whispered. Yes, Dr. Khalid said calmly. Me. He turned to the officers. That's her, he said. The one I told you about. They looked at my son. At the man. At the recording phone still in my hand. This isn't over, my son said quietly as the officers questioned him. I met his gaze. No, I said. It's just beginning. The man was escorted out. My son followed. Not arrested. Not yet. But exposed. When the room finally emptied, I sat down heavily. Dr. Khalid handed me water. You were brave, he said. No, I replied. I was late. He shook his head. You're right on time, he said. Outside, night had fallen. I looked at the window, at the city lights, at the life waiting beyond fear. But I knew one thing. This wasn't resolution. This was ignition. Because secrets don't die quietly. They fight back. Chapter 7, Emotional Turmoil. The night was silent, but inside me a storm raged. I sat on the edge of the guesthouse bed, hands trembling, phone pressed to my ear. Every message from Isla made my heart skip. Every memory of my son, my daughter-in-law, every stolen moment of my life replayed endlessly. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to wipe them away. I needed them, needed to feel the weight of betrayal. Amy, Isla's voice trembled on the line. I'm here, Beta, I whispered. They're angry, she said. They know you know. I exhaled slowly, trying to steady myself. Let them be, I said softly. We'll handle this together. But Amy, I'm scared, she admitted. Good, I said firmly. You should be. Fear keeps us alive. Her silence was heavy. Then a sob escaped. I wished I could hold her, protect her like I used to. But she was growing up fast, learning lessons I hadn't wanted her to. Another memory flashed. Dinner at home. My son had served himself first, smiling while I poured water for everyone. You're too old to worry about money, he said, almost jokingly. I had laughed then, naively, foolishly. Now I understood. That joke was the first dagger, the start of the theft that had consumed my home, my dignity, my life. I stood abruptly and walked to the window. The city lights shimmered like false promises. I realized then how long I had been invisible. The family I had raised, loved, nurtured, treated with sacrifice, they had erased me. Piece by piece, my phone buzzed again. It was Dr. Khalid. Are you alone? He asked. Yes, I whispered. Good, he said. Stay that way. Don't trust anyone who calls themselves family tonight. I closed my eyes. Doctor, why did my husband trust you? He paused, then said, softly, because he knew someone had to watch over you. Someone who wouldn't waver. Someone who could keep secrets safe until the right moment. The right moment. I realized then I was living it. Another memory clawed through me. The last birthday my husband had celebrated. I had baked a cake. Our son and daughter-in-law had sat at the table, smiling politely. Why don't you sit closer? My husband had asked my son. I'm fine, he said. The smile had been forced, the tension hidden. I hadn't noticed then. But now every small moment aligned. Every glance, every silence. It all screamed betrayal. Isla interrupted my thoughts again. Amy, they're coming, she said in a whisper. I froze. Who? I asked. My mother, she said. And the men. They know we spoke. My heart pounded. I had known this would happen. Yet, hearing it made my knees weak. Listen, I said calmly, though my blood burned with fear. You hide. Stay with your aunt. Don't answer the door. Not to anyone. I can't leave you, she cried. You must, I said. For now. Trust me. I will not be alone tonight. I hung up and went to the small bathroom, stared at my reflection. Old, frightened, vulnerable, but also defiant. I splashed cold water on my face. Enough, I whispered. You will not break me tonight. Another memory, my husband's warning. May, he had said years ago, trust no one blindly, not even your child. I had laughed then. Now I understood. The laughter had been naive, blind, foolish, but the knowledge now it burned inside me like a torch. A soft knock echoed from the door. My blood ran cold. I held my breath. Another knock. Harder, louder. Nana May, a voice called, smooth, controlled. The same man, the problem solver. I swallowed. My knees nearly gave out. You will not take me, I whispered. He paused. Then, just talk, he said softly. It doesn't have to get messy. I shook my head. Talk? After everything? You think words can fix betrayal. His silence answered me. I looked around the tiny room. No weapons. No escape. Only me. But then, I remembered the note in my pocket. Don't go home. Run. And my husband's second paper. All the pieces aligned. I had secrets too. And I was ready. Isla's voice came again. Amy, I'm watching from the street, she whispered. You are my shield, I said. Her bravery struck me. And suddenly, I realized I was no longer just protecting myself. I was protecting her, my bloodline, the future my husband had fought for. And the fury inside me ignited. The knock continued. I stepped closer to the door, hands trembling, but my mind sharpened. Go away, I yelled. No answer. I leaned against the wall, drawing strength from every betrayal, every lie, every loss. I would not be broken. Not tonight. Not ever. The air in the guest house felt suffocating. Not because it was small. Not because it was warm. It was suffocating because of the tension. The truths waiting to explode. I sat on the edge of the bed, gripping the note in my hand. My heart still raced from the confrontation with the problem solver and my son. And yet, beneath the fear, there was a new feeling. Power. Yes, power. Because I finally had the truth. And the truth was a weapon. My phone buzzed. Isla again. Amy, she whispered. They're arguing outside your door. I exhaled slowly. Good, I murmured. Let them argue. Let them expose themselves. I knew the tension wouldn't last. My son and the problem solver were like fire and gasoline. Both dangerous, both volatile. I slid the phone into my pocket and picked up the doctor's note. Don't go home. Run. I ran my fingers over the words, tasting the fear, the urgency, the unspoken warning. The knock on the door returned. Harder this time. Amy, open up, my son's voice called. I pressed my back to the wall. My hands shook, but my mind was sharp. You will not scare me any more, I said aloud, not caring if he could hear me. You cannot control me. There was a long pause. Then, Amy, please. Talk to me, he said softer, almost pleading. I laughed bitterly. Talk? You want to talk now, after everything you've done? Another pause. Then the door rattled. The lock trembled under his touch. I straightened. Enough games, I said. If you want to talk, do it through words, not threats. I could hear his frustration. Amy, he said, voice trembling now. I did this because I love you. I froze. Love. I repeated, disbelief burning in my chest. You call stealing my house, hiding my documents, threatening me love? Yes, he insisted. I wanted to protect you, to keep you safe, from yourself, from others, from mistakes. I shook my head. You don't protect by erasing. You don't protect by lying. You betray. You steal. You manipulate. That is not love. That is betrayal. Isla's whisper came through the phone again. Amy, I think he's crying. I frowned. I can't believe this, she whispered. He's my father and he's... Not yet your father, I interrupted softly. He's your betrayer. That's what he is tonight. I hung up. I needed to think clearly. The man behind my son shifted, watching, waiting, calculating. I realized something terrifying. They were counting on me giving up, counting on me breaking, counting on my fear. But fear was gone. All that remained was clarity. Another memory hit me suddenly. My husband, late at night before he passed. He had whispered to me, shaking, weak, yet resolute. Mate, if anything happens, trust no one blindly. Especially him. Especially the woman who smiles like she loves, but thinks only of power. I had laughed then, naively, foolishly. Now I understood. Everything I had suffered, every stolen document, every betrayal had been predicted. And now, I was ready. Amy, my son's voice broke the silence. Yes, I said. Please, we can fix this. We can make it right. I tilted my head, curious. Fix it? By admitting what? By returning what you stole? By apologizing after you tried to erase me? He faltered. I didn't want to hurt you. You just what? I demanded. Manipulate me? Lie to me? Destroy my life? Silence. Then a whisper. I wanted to protect you. I laughed again, bitterly, tears threatening. Protection comes with honesty, Beta, not erasure, not theft, not lies. The man behind him cleared his throat. Amy, you must see reason, he said. I turned to him, eyes blazing. Reason? I echoed. The only reason you've ever had is to serve your masters, to follow orders, to enforce theft. He stiffened. You don't understand, he said. We're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing it for what? I demanded. For my life to be stolen? For my dignity to be crushed? His lips pressed into a thin line. No answer. I took a deep breath. I will not be silent anymore, I said. I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder. Inside were copies of messages, recordings, evidence my husband had hidden. Every threat, I said. Every document taken. Every lie. Everything recorded. Everything backed up. My son's face went pale. The man behind him stiffened. You, he muttered. Yes, I said, voice steady now. Me. The woman you thought you could erase. The mother you tried to destroy. I am still here. And I have the truth. Another memory surged. The day my son signed the papers at the wedding hall. The look on my daughter-in-law's face. Cold. Calculated. Smiling, yet planning. I had ignored it then. Naively. Not anymore. I had witnesses. I had proof. I had allies. And most importantly, I had courage. My son stammered. Emmy, you don't know what you're risking, he said. You think I care? I said. You think after everything. I fear you. The man behind him took a step forward. I raised my hand. Stop, I said firmly. He froze. You've had your chance, I said. Your son thought he could manipulate me. But I see clearly now. And I'm done being afraid. The knock came again at the door. Stronger, louder, more deliberate. I stiffened. It was a warning. But I was ready. I would face them. Not with tears. Not with fear. With truth. With evidence. With fire. Chapter 8. Confessions and Conflicts Part 2/3. The knock at the door echoed like a drumbeat of fate. I held my breath. Every instinct screamed to run. Every memory whispered caution. But I was no longer the frightened woman who had cowered at shadows. I was awake. The problem solver's eyes darted nervously toward the door. My son's hands trembled. Both realized I had changed. Amy, wait, my son said, voice quivering. We can fix this, please. No, I said. My voice was steel. You can't fix betrayal with words. You can't repair what you broke with apologies. Not anymore. The door rattled violently. Open up, a new voice shouted, authoritative, unfamiliar. I froze. Police. Or someone claiming authority. The men outside cursed under their breath. My heart pounded. But I felt a flicker of hope. I glanced at the phone. Isla had gone silent. I knew she was watching from a distance. Perfect. You think you have power over me, I said, turning to my son and the man behind him. But power is not fear. Power is truth. And truth is mine. I opened the folder. Printed messages, audio recordings, copies of the lawyer's documents. Every threat, every coercion, every manipulative move captured. Look at this, I said, placing a copy on the table. Every word you spoke, every action you took, recorded, witnessed, verified. My son's face turned pale. The man behind him shifted uncomfortably. You can't use those, the man muttered. I smiled coldly. Already used. Already saved. Already backed up. A memory flashed violently. My husband on his deathbed, weak and trembling, pressing my hand. May, you must protect the truth, even if it costs you everything. I shivered. I had failed him once. But tonight I would not. Amy, my son whispered. This doesn't have to go public. We can settle it quietly. I laughed bitterly. Quiet. I spat. You stole my home. You tried to erase my existence. And you call quiet a solution. You think you understand, he shouted suddenly. You don't know the pressures I face. The debts. The expectations. My wife chose you, I interrupted. And you chose her. Don't blame circumstances. Don't blame anyone but yourself. He opened his mouth to argue, but stopped. He knew I was right. Isla's voice came softly from the phone, though I had it muted. I'm watching, Amy. You're incredible. I swallowed hard. In that moment, I realized I was not alone. Even in fear, even in danger, I had allies, family I could trust, and evidence on my side. The door shook again. The unknown voice shouted, Open up. This is your last warning. I pressed the phone against my ear. Amy, Isla whispered. They've called more men. They're surrounding the building. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Good, I whispered. Let them come. Let the truth meet them. My son's eyes filled with panic for the first time that night. You don't understand, he began, but I cut him off. No, I said firmly. I understand perfectly. You planned it. You orchestrated my erasure. You thought I was too old, too weak, too naive to fight back. But I'm not. And you've underestimated me. The man behind him shifted again, clearly frustrated. You're making a mistake, Amy, he said. No, I said, voice rising. You're the mistake. Another memory surfaced. My son laughing with relatives during a family dinner. I remembered the subtle way he isolated me that night, the tiny manipulations, the dismissive words. I realize now, those small betrayals were training, a pattern, leading to tonight. I would not follow it. I would break it. The knock at the door intensified. I grabbed the folder and my phone. Amy, what are you doing? My son asked nervously. Recording everything, I said. If you think this ends in silence, you're wrong. The world will hear the truth. The man behind him stepped forward. Stop her, he barked. I raised my hand. Do it, I said. You'll only prove my point. Every attempt to silence me is evidence against you. He froze. I saw the fear now. Just a flicker, but it was there. A soft whistle outside drew my attention. Then, two familiar faces emerged, Dr. Khalid and my brother-in-law. Relief flooded me. You're here, I whispered, though it was barely audible. Dr. Khalid nodded. Yes, he said. We were never far. We knew they'd make a move tonight. And you were ready. I turned back to my son. You wanted to protect me? I said softly, voice dripping with irony. You've endangered me, betrayed me, humiliated me, and now you'll face the consequences. He opened his mouth, but words failed him. The man behind him cursed under his breath. You're trapped, he said. There's no way out. I smiled. I've been trapped my entire life, I said. But not tonight. Tonight, the truth sets me free. The first police car arrived. Lights flashing, sirens low. The man cursed, my son's face drained of color. I stood taller than I had all night. I realized something then. The tide had shifted. I was no longer the victim. I was the storm. The room felt electrified. Every breath, every heartbeat, every step was heavy with tension. The police officers entered, carefully assessing the scene. My son froze. The problem solver glanced around, calculating his next move. But I stood tall, holding the folder, the phone recording every word, every gesture. You're under investigation for threats, intimidation, and coercion, one officer said firmly. My son's face went pale. This is a mistake, he shouted. Your mother has evidence, Dr. Khalid said calmly. Documents, recordings, witnesses. You crossed the line. My son's shoulders slumped. The arrogance, the control, the false bravado, all gone. I turned to face him, voice steady, cutting through the tension. You called it protection, but protection is love. Love does not steal, threaten, or erase. You were never protecting me. You were protecting your ambition. Tears threatened again, but I blinked them back. You have a choice now, I said. Admit your betrayal, make amends, or live knowing you destroyed the person who gave you everything. He swallowed hard. His lips trembled. I didn't mean to, he stammered. Then why? I asked, voice rising, pain and fury blending. For the family, for you. I thought I was helping. You thought destroying me was helping. Silence. The man behind him shifted nervously. You've lost, I said quietly, almost calmly. All your power is gone. All your plans exposed. You are nothing against truth. The police began to collect evidence, guided by Dr. Khalid and my brother-in-law. The man tried to escape, but one officer blocked him. I watched them, a strange mix of satisfaction and sorrow swirling inside me. This wasn't joy. It was justice. Hard, bitter, necessary justice. I remembered Isla's words again. Amy, you're incredible. I realized then why my husband had chosen me to carry his secrets, to protect our family legacy. Not because I was strong, but because I would fight when no one else could. I turned to my son, who now looked small, defeated, broken. This, I said softly, is what betrayal feels like. Look at me. Remember this moment. Remember that actions have consequences. That lies and manipulation destroy more than homes. They destroy hearts. My son dropped his gaze. Amy, he whispered, voice hollow. I shook my head. No more words. Not tonight. You will answer for what you did, and you will learn the cost of betrayal. The problem solver spat on the floor, enraged, but the officers remained calm. You thought you could intimidate me, I said, voice icy, but intimidation has no power over someone who knows the truth. You underestimated an old woman. You underestimated a mother. And now, I smiled, the first true smile of the night. Now you will face justice. The police took statements. Evidence was logged. My son and the man were detained for questioning. I sat back, exhausted. My hand shook, but a strange peace settled in me. I had faced fear, betrayal, and lies, and survived. I had exposed them, and for the first time I felt free. Dr. Khalid handed me a cup of tea. You've done what most cannot, he said softly. I nodded, swallowing hard. My husband believed in me, I said, even when I didn't believe in myself. And tonight, I finally honored his trust. Isla called again, whispering from her safe distance. I saw everything, Amy. You were amazing. I smiled, tears finally spilling freely. Thank you, Beta, I said. But this is only the beginning. The truth will unfold, and those who tried to destroy us will understand that we are stronger than they ever imagined. The night outside was still, quiet, peaceful. Inside, I sat alone with my thoughts, reflecting on the confessions, the conflicts, the betrayals, and the victories. I realized something crucial. The battle wasn't just against others. It was against fear, doubt, and time itself. And I had won. Dawn broke like a thin knife through the blinds. Pale, fragile, hesitant, I sat at the small guest house table, my hands trembling over the folder of evidence. Every document, every recording, every message from last night's chaos was laid bare. My son, the problem solver, the betrayal I thought I understood, it was only the tip of the iceberg. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. But the air was heavy, thick with tension, with the weight of unfinished battles. I reached for my phone and called my brother-in-law. May. His voice was cautious, tight, concerned. They're contained, I said firmly, even as my own heart hammered. The men, my son, they're being questioned. But this isn't over. Not by a long shot. There was a pause. I know, he said finally. You were brave more than I imagined. Bravery isn't enough, I replied. If they find the remaining pieces before we do, documents, letters, even the chest, it could destroy everything. Yes, he said, his voice steadying. We'll be careful. Step by step. One move at a time. I hung up and looked out the window. The city was waking, oblivious to my private war. People moved on with their lives while I was left to untangle a web of betrayal. The truth was my weapon, but it wasn't yet enough. Isla's call came next. Her voice, soft and shaken, carried both fear and awe. Amy, what happens now? I inhaled slowly, feeling the weight of responsibility. Now we plan, I said. We secure the remaining documents, the chest, the copies, everything my husband prepared. Then we ensure no one can manipulate or erase us again. Her voice trembled. You're incredible, Amy, she whispered. I smiled faintly, though exhaustion had already started gnawing at my bones. Yes, Beta, I said, but incredible alone isn't enough. We have to be precise, strategic. One wrong move and everything crumbles. I went through the folder again. Power of attorney documents, legal letters, copies of the chest contents, audio recordings of threats, proof of coercion, every deceit, every manipulation, every betrayal meticulously captured. I realized then the sheer audacity of their plan. My son had orchestrated a coup against me, believing he could erase my life, my home, my history without consequence. But tonight, for the first time, I held control. A soft knock startled me. I froze. Amy. Isla's whisper came from outside the room. I exhaled. Relief. Come in, Beta, I said. She entered, her eyes wide, carrying a small bag of food. Her hand shook slightly, though she tried to hide it. I saw everything, she whispered. They were terrifying. But you. I nodded. Exhaustion and relief clashed within me. I have to fix this, I said finally. Not just the immediate danger, but everything. The house, the documents, our family's legacy. It all needs to be restored. Carefully, strategically, her small hands found mine, offering quiet reassurance. I know you can, Amy, she said softly. You've always been stronger than they ever imagined. Hours passed as we planned. Every step, every precaution. Step 1. Secure the remaining documents. Copies with Dr. Khalid, my brother-in-law, and a trusted legal office. Step 2. Record every interaction, every word, every subtle threat. Ensure nothing is left to chance. Step 3. Prepare for confrontation, not just with my son, but with anyone who had benefited from deception. Isla's concern was constant. Amy, it's too much. Are you sure you can handle it? Yes, I said firmly, because this isn't just about me. It's about protecting our family, our truth, and the life my husband fought to preserve. Lies cannot survive, and I will see that clearly tonight, tomorrow, always. Memory flashed. My son, whispering with his wife during a family dinner years ago, plotting while I washed dishes, unaware. I had noticed then, subtly, but I had ignored it, hoping love, patience, and guidance would steer him right. I was naive, foolish, but not anymore. Now I would act. No hope, only action. By evening, the authorities began cataloging evidence, led by Dr. Khalid and my brother-in-law. The man, the problem solver, was in custody. My son remained under questioning. He was scared now. No arrogance, no bravado, only the realization that control had slipped through his fingers. I felt no satisfaction, only clarity. The road to resolution was long, but at last the pieces were moving in my favor. Ella asked me again, softly, Amy, will he ever understand what he did? I thought of my son, once confident, now diminished. His arrogance shattered, his sense of power gone. I don't know, I admitted. He may never fully understand. But he will learn one truth tonight. Deception, manipulation, and betrayal always have consequences. Always. Her small hand squeezed mine. I realized the depth of connection we now shared. Betrayal had scarred us, but courage had bound us stronger than ever. Night fell again. Quiet. Heavy. I sat alone with the folder, reviewing every document. Memories of confrontation, confessions, and the chaos of last night returned like a vivid film. Resolution would not be clean. Families don't mend in a day. Betrayals don't erase in hours. It would take cunning, patience, courage. Another knock startled me, this time gentle, hesitant. Dr. Khalid appeared in the doorway, expression grave but composed. They're trying to find loopholes, he said quietly. But you're ready. You've recorded everything, backed up everything. The remaining conflicts can be resolved if you stay strategic. I nodded, swallowing hard. Yes, I whispered. I won't make mistakes again. This family, our legacy, it's mine to protect. And I will see it through. The night outside was still, the city breathing calmly, unaware. Inside, I prepared for the battles ahead. Emotional, legal, and personal. Resolution would not come easily, not quickly, but it would come, because I had truth, because I had courage, because I had survived betrayal. And now, I was ready to reclaim everything. The night was thick, dark, silent, yet the air inside the guest house crackled with tension, as if the walls themselves remembered every betrayal, every whisper, every lie. I sat at the table, the folder of evidence open before me, the weight of the past weeks pressing down like a storm cloud. The events of last night, the confessions, the confrontations, they had shifted the balance. But something whispered in the shadows. The final truth had yet to emerge. Isla peeked around the doorway, her face pale, eyes wide. Amy, are you sure it's over? I shook my head slowly. No, Beta. It's never over until every lie, every secret is exposed. Until every betrayal is accounted for. Her small hand found mine, holding tight. I drew strength from her, from us, from the knowledge that courage, once awakened, is unstoppable. The phone rang. My brother-in-law. May, he said urgently, we found something. A hidden safe in your old study at the house. My stomach tightened. What? I whispered. There are documents and a journal. It belonged to your husband. I swallowed hard. Memories flooded. My husband, writing late into the night, scribbling warnings, secrets, confessions, fears. The same man who had prepared me for everything I faced now seemed to be guiding me from beyond the grave. I glanced at Isla. This changes everything, I whispered. I stood, taking the folder, my pulse quickening. Every step I took toward the phone was deliberate, precise. I had learned patience, strategy, timing. We need to move carefully, my brother-in-law continued. The safe is hidden behind the fireplace. There's a lock, but it's old-fashioned. Easy to open if you know the mechanism. I nodded. I'll go. I need to see this. We arrived at the house under the cover of night. The streets were silent, as if the city itself was holding its breath. The front door opened without a sound. I moved slowly, deliberately, toward the study. Memories of my son and the problem solver creeping through these halls the night of betrayal made my skin prickle. I stopped at the fireplace. Here, my brother-in-law whispered. I examined the panels, fingers trembling. The old mechanism clicked easily under my touch. The safe opened. Inside, everything. Stacks of documents, letters, legal contracts, handwritten notes, and then a journal, leather-bound, worn and familiar. My husband's handwriting sprawled across the first page. I traced it with trembling fingers. May, I whispered. The journal contained every secret. Business dealings, family pressures, warnings about my son's tendencies, the manipulations of the problem solver, even details I had never imagined. But one entry made my blood run cold. May, if you are reading this, it means they have pushed too far. My son, our son, has made choices I cannot control. But one truth must be known before it's too late. Someone close to you has been working in silence, watching, waiting, protecting or harming depending on the hour. Trust carefully, for the danger is greater than you imagine. I froze. Someone close working in silence? Isla gasped beside me. What is it, Amy? I shook my head slowly. I don't know yet. But this is bigger than we thought. We gathered the documents carefully. Every piece, every copy, every note was accounted for. Yet the journal's warning lingered, a shadow over everything we had achieved. Back at the guest house, I opened the journal fully. More entries, more secrets, names, dates, actions. But one recurring name stood out, whispered repeatedly in careful script. She knows. My pulse quickened. Who was she? And what did she know? Isla noticed my gaze. Amy, what is it? I didn't answer. I could feel it in my bones. The next confrontation would not be with my son, or the problem solver, or even the authorities. It would be with someone I trusted, someone close, someone who had been hiding in plain sight. Hours passed. The room was quiet. I sat staring at the journal, reading each line, each warning, each piece of advice my husband had left. And then I understood. The chest, the documents, the confessions, the evidence, they were all pieces of a puzzle. But the final piece, the piece that would either destroy or protect us, had yet to reveal itself. And I was running out of time. A soft knock, deliberate, calculated. I froze. Isla jumped. Amy, who is it? She whispered. I rose slowly, sensing the presence. The door opened, and there she was, my daughter-in-law, calm, smiling, almost serene, but her eyes as sharp, calculating, dangerous. You're awake, she said softly, stepping inside without invitation. I tensed. Isla moved behind me instinctively. I wanted to talk, she continued. Settle things. Make peace. I studied her, reading every gesture, every expression. Peace, I repeated. After everything? After the lies, the theft, the threats? Her smile didn't falter. There's more you don't know, Amy. I felt it. The weight of the journal, the unseen truths, the warning. You've been hiding something, I said carefully. Who are you really working for? Her eyes flickered. A hint of a smirk. I've always protected this family, she said softly, even when it meant making difficult choices. I narrowed my eyes. Protecting or controlling? She laughed, low and deliberate. You think last night was the climax, she said. Oh, Nana May, you've seen only the surface. The real danger is just beginning. Isla gasped. I felt my heart race. Every instinct screamed. Something unseen had been orchestrating events far beyond my son and the problem solver. This isn't over, my daughter-in-law whispered. No, I said firmly. It's just beginning. I opened the journal again. A new entry I hadn't noticed before. May, trust no one completely. Even those closest to you may have their own motives. The choices you make now will shape everything. Protect the family, protect the truth, and beware, the last betrayal is often the most painful. I closed the journal, heart pounding. The final betrayal. Someone close. Someone I hadn't suspected. And I knew the next battle would be more dangerous, more personal, more devastating than anything I had faced so far. Isla clutched my hand. Emmy, what will we do? I took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of courage, clarity, and resolve. We prepare, I said. We watch. We gather every piece of evidence, every ally, every truth. And when the time comes, we strike back. With everything we have. Her eyes filled with fear, but also admiration. You've survived so much already, she said softly. I smiled faintly. Yes, Beta. But this is far from over. And the truth, the final truth, will change everything. The city outside was quiet, peaceful, but inside, the storm of secrets, betrayal, and hidden agendas was just beginning to rage. And I, Nana May, had no intention of backing down. The next chapter of this war was already written, and the final shock, the ultimate revelation, waited just beyond the horizon.